There has been a scheme in operation for the last 5 years called Chance to Shine, which has been all about getting cricket into state schools. How's it working? Well, Matt Floyd has this report.
Chance to Shine, one of the biggest school sport initiatives ever undertaken, has just celebrated its 5th birthday. But on a sunny summer's day at the home of cricket, there's an extra reason to uncork the champagne.
The celebration today is we've had 1 million children now who have been involved in the programme. We've either received coaching and competitive opportunities as well. So it's a young girl down in Devon who's our millionth child. So, yeah.
Chance to Shine's goal has always been to have 2 million state school children enrolled in the programme by 2015. So in that sense, it is on target. But the organisers hope it will leave an even more lasting impression than that.
This is not just somebody who visits the school, tells them what cricket is, gives them a bit of kit and goes away. This is an organised programme right through the whole of the summer term. Each child receives proper coaching every week. There are slots both in school hours and outside the normal school curriculum. And every child plays at least 5 organised competitive matches during the summer. It's a serious programme.
One of the ways in which the Cricket Foundation, which runs Chance to Shine, raises awareness of the initiative is by the creation of a National Cricket Day. This year, 3,700 schools took part.
It's helped in a number of ways, really. It's obviously got cricket back on the curriculum for every child. You know, all the children from age 9, 10 and 11 are doing cricket at least once a week. Also, it's had an impact for the teachers as well, because they get training. You know, the coach comes along and works alongside the teacher, and so then they're in a better position to then teach those lessons at a later date, and that's been a big impact as well.
The designated Chance to Shine coaches are at the schools on a regular basis, but the day gives the initiative a chance to wheel out some big gun ex-players to further publicise the event.
I was unfortunate enough, I didn't really play a lot of cricket at school, so to see it at primary level it is fantastic, and the excitement and enjoyment, because I remember when I was in the school classroom I wanted to be out here playing cricket, but there wasn't any facilities. So I think the overview of what they're doing is fantastic. Hopefully it can carry on for a long period of time.
Much of the initiative's longevity will depend on quality and number of coaches. The decision was taken to approach local clubs to provide these coaches, and it is no small ask.
The commitment's huge in that, year 1 they've asked us to commit to 140 hours of coaching, year 2 210, year 3 240 hours, and then it tapers down in year 4 and 5.
But once a club has enough level 2 coaches, the minimum qualification insisted upon by Chance to Shine, the benefits for them are also clear to see.
The bottom line is for us to go into our local state schools when none of the schools are playing cricket around here now, and get kids interested in cricket, and hopefully they'll end up down here playing for Hadley Cricket Club.
Another problem that Chance to Shine faces is providing help to every school that requires it. Tanners Wood School in Hertfordshire, for example, has applied to be on the programme and hopes to be accepted next year.
I think the thing is here that we have teachers that would probably be happy to deliver cricket in the curriculum, but they don't have the skills, they don't have the knowledge. So if we could have some coaching for our staff, then that would obviously improve our curriculum delivery of cricket. And once one teacher is trained, there's the capacity to train others. So it would definitely improve the whole cricket situation for us here. Children who have played in our little local league have really enjoyed it, but I think they feel like I do. There's not enough of it at the moment. They need to develop their knowledge and skills if they're going to be confident in the future.
Just 20 minutes down the road, St Merrill School have been on Chance to Shine's 5-year programme for 3 years, after which the funding and coaching will be phased out. The test then will be to not let all the hard work go to waste.
I would like to think so, yes. The children are very enthusiastic about football at the moment, and will do that come what may. What I would hope is that as the time evolves, that they'll want to take and play cricket come what may as well.
Are you confident the kids will be as motivated by your teachers as they were by the Chance to Shine coaches?
I certainly hope so. I mean, that's part and parcel of the teacher's job, is to motivate children, inspire children. whether it be in the classroom, whether it be outside playing cricket. So I certainly have no worries about that.
And they're qualified to coach as far as you're concerned?
They're qualified. They've had the training and they're certainly qualified to teach, and they know about cricket and cricket, so I'm sure they'll be more than adequately prepared for it.
But schools in more rural areas like Kingsworthy, Tannerswood and St Merrill all have a good amount of outdoor space, something which can't be said of most in inner city areas. As a result, a slightly different approach had to be taken.
Street Chance is the inner city extension of Chance to Shine. So where Chance to Shine operates with cricket clubs at the hub and does coaching in a cluster of schools local to that, we work in inner city areas where there's not a lot of cricket clubs, there are a lot of people. So we set up our own community clubs in urban spaces, in areas like youth clubs, hardball cages on estates, areas that aren't traditionally used for cricket, and we get the cricket up and running then.
The key element to how Street Chance is run is the creation of a condensed form of the game called Street 20, which is designed to be played in small urban areas.
We use a tape ball, which is an idea that's originated sort of in Pakistan on the subcontinent. You get a tennis ball, you wrap it in electrical tape so it's harder and faster, but you still don't need expensive protective equipment that you need in traditional cricket. Street 20 uses those kind of basics, and from that we do 20 balls per innings, 6 aside, really easily accessible kind of fast-paced game that's, for kids who are used to playing 5-a-side football and basketball, it's a really nice way for them to get into cricket.
So halfway into its 10-year plan, Chance to Shine is hitting its targets and has evolved along the way. But where do the organisers want to be at the end of it, and what of the future?
5 years from now, our 10th anniversary, 2 million children will have been through that programme, maybe more. But I think this is a programme that has a chance of continuing in perpetuity, and I hope it will.
Well, I'd like to see us in at least a third of state schools, have a clear plan in place for what we're going to do beyond 10 years, ensure that a sustainability strategy is in place, is now being delivered to schools. If we return to those same schools that leave the scheme 2 years after we leave them, that they still be playing competitive cricket.
And that really is going to be the benchmark on how Chance to Shine is measured. The organisers claim that the initiative has so far been an undoubted success, but it will be a few years yet before we can tell whether it has ingrained a cricket culture amongst schools in this country.
Well, you saw him in the film, and Wasim Khan, the Chief Executive of the Cricket Foundation that runs Chance to Shine, is with us now. Well, welcome to you. Bottom line is, how is it working? How successful has it been, do you think?
It's about as successful as we could have hoped. When we launched in 2005, there were a lot of sceptics out there who'd seen a lot of initiatives come and go within cricket and just felt this was another initiative that was going to be here for a few years and then gone. But what we tried to do was put a 5-year programme in place for every school that we were going to bring on board, with a real view that we wanted to sustain activities, sustain competition within those schools after 5 years. So after 5 years, we've celebrated our millionth child in the programme. There's 3,700 schools involved across England and Wales, and hundreds and thousands of competitive matches are being played during the summer term.
So progress has been made. You said at the end there that you want to have, by the end of the 10 years, cricket in a third of the state schools in the country, which obviously means there's quite a way to go. And even though it sounds good to have 3,700, and it obviously is good to have that, there appears to be a lot of schools who still are untouched by this.
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges that we had at the beginning was how many schools do we bring on board on an annual basis. We decided that we would look at linking 100 cricket clubs to 600 schools annually, and look at working at that. We could have spread ourselves a lot more thinly, but really what we've been trying to focus on is quality contact time with the actual schools. A third of state schools is around about 7,000, so there's 27,000 state schools in this country. So there is a huge amount of work still to be done, but this is part of our strategy going forward, that we carry on in perpetuity and we try and reach as many schools as we can beyond that.
I'm just going to bring Nas in here quickly. Do you think the situation's largely different now, for instance, when you were growing up, or there's similarities?
Well, until this, I think it's been worse until this, and that's why this has come on board, because all schools, and it'll hit now as well, because all schools will be cutting back the finances of schools. My wife works in a primary school in Essex. Finances for sport will be cut back. And the things I'd like to ask Waz is first of all, the facilities, because I like the coach's idea, but that's got to be a lot older. I think English kids are far too coached, overcoached. It's great to see the coaches talking there, but facilities, a game of football at a school, you can just put you know, jumpers down, you can play football. What are you doing about that to make sure that they can actually play a decent game of cricket?
Yeah, I mean, by linking the clubs and the schools together, what we wanted to do was to provide competitive opportunities down at the local club. So, for example, typically during the course of the week, clubs are empty. You know, they probably net on a Tuesday evening, Thursday evening. So what the clubs have done, they've made their facilities available during the afternoons, the mornings, and the schools go down, they play triangular tournaments, they play mini leagues. So 3 or 4 days a week, a lot of the clubs are full now, with a lot of these schools taking their turn to go along and play hardball cricket. You know, when we started, you know, the lack of, or the selling off of playing fields and the lack of greenery, and particularly in inner city areas, was always going to be a challenge for us. What we try to focus on was the space that we did have, with a view to the fact that the better players will then move on to the cricket clubs to then have a proper opportunity to play hardball cricket. But we also recognise that hardball cricket isn't going to be there for everybody. You know, what we want to do is to get young people to learn through the skills that they're going to learn through playing competition, whether it's quick cricket or inter-cricket or pairs cricket within the playgrounds and the school halls, and try and learn and develop their leadership skills and self-discipline and teamwork as well. So there's a real educational side to what we do, and really it's about trying to educate these kids through competitive cricket, with a view then, if we do establish some professional players, and that's great.
And the other thing is, we saw a teacher there talking about educating the teachers. I don't think that means as a coaching, because one thing with cricket as opposed to football is you've got to keep all the kids interested, because in cricket at school level there's a lot of standing around. If you don't get the type of cricket right, so what are you doing about that? You know, what do you do to make an 11-a-side game interesting? What they bat in pairs or something? Or
the various forms, Nas, they bat in pairs. We play various forms. I mean, it was alluded to in there, the Street 20 concept, which we also run as part of our core programme as well within schools. You know, the teachers themselves will become upskilled to a level by working with the coaches, but ultimately the coaches have got a huge role to play in all of this, because what we're not looking for is technically gifted coaches, but coaches who can actually enthuse and motivate teachers and pupils, because unless they do that, teachers will walk away from it when the coach walks away. So it's about engaging them.
Final question then. Who's come through the scheme so far that you might think has a potential future at a higher level? Anyone showing signs of that?
Well, we've had numerous examples of youngsters who, some of them who've never played cricket before. We've got a young girl in Durham who'd never played cricket before, and now she plays for the Durham under-13s. You know, so we will get examples, but I think it's very much about the longevity of this, and I think that we'll probably see bear the fruits probably in 10 or 15 years, and hopefully one day we'll get a youngster, when asked out there about where their first experience was with cricket, they'll say it was this programme called Chance to Shine that got me motivated and enthused to want to take up the game.
OK, well, many thanks for coming. In about 5 years' time, after 10 years of the scheme, we might be seeing the first one come through then to something akin to professional level if all has gone well.